I'll just put it in the description.
Thank you.
Just look at the description, girls.
If you go online, it'll say on there
Just
too.
go on. It's 2025. Stop asking us for hours. Just go check. Welcome back to another episode of A Girl Business Podcast. I'm your host, Shelby, and today we're at the Main Street Artists Gallery, and I'm here with one of the artists, Tina, aka Trixie, aka her alter ego, as she would say, Hollyhox Painting. So I am going to let you take it as far back as you want to go. The girls love all the details, and girls, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, all that awkward social media stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, first of all.
Yes.
I guess starting out, going way back to the beginning, I grew up in a creative household. I had mom and dad who were both very artistic, and they always had art supplies around the house, so I would try things. And then when I was in about junior high, high school, early high school, I would watch Bob Ross on TV, and I would be thinking, I could do some of that. So I would go to my room, and I'd put on classical music because I was a nerd, and I would spend hours and hours. And I didn't have the expensive oil paints. We had just whatever was around the house, acrylic paint, craft paint, whatever. And I would just try and do what Bob Ross did with his oil paints, but I would try and make them work with things like acrylic paint and just try and practice for hours and hours. And it was a special interest, I will say, because I was willing to spend many, many hours on something like that. So, and I always tell people when they are saying, I'm not an artist, or I can't even draw a straight line, or whatever they're saying, I do stick figures. Really, honestly, it's practice. Yes, some things come easier to some people, but you don't get to where you are unless you practice. So that's what I always tell people, especially students. And then going forward, I would dabble in art. I am not college degree artist at all. I did take some high school art classes, and then a couple things because I have a teaching credential as well. So as part of that degree and credentialing program, you needed to take some art. So I have some art background from that. So just kind of more self-taught, which I was told all artists are self-taught because you can't teach somebody art, really. You can teach them some techniques, but they have to teach themselves what works. So that was the background for education as far as that goes. And then through the years, I would play around with art, and it was more of a hobby and just kind of whenever I had time. And then we got up to the point where, you get a few discouraging words from someone or maybe even from yourself, and then put the paints away and not see them for a long time. And then try it again, and then maybe just that little niggle of yourself or someone else saying something that makes you go, nope, and put it away. And then during COVID, I had some time, so I brought all that stuff out again and started painting, and then I would post a painting on Facebook, and then somebody wanted to buy it. And I was like, okay, and then that just kind of kept happening, and then I think during those COVID years, people were home, they weren't traveling, they had maybe some extra money to spend because they weren't traveling, and they're sitting around looking at walls that they wished looked different. So I started getting calls for murals. And then that's where Hollyhox Painting was born, basically. It was during those years when people said, can you paint this on my outbuilding, or can you paint this on my bathroom wall, or whatever it was. And so I decided, well, I need to do this for real then. So I went about the process of starting a business, and because that's what it was. It is art, but it is a business. and you have to do all those things, the spreadsheets, the taxes. You have to do, I have to have liability insurance for what I
Really?
do, and partly because I'm a muralist, so you're on ladders and
Okay.
going on people's properties and things like that. So I have to do that, which is very expensive, I will say.
Wow.
And do all of those things that it's art, but it's also business, and it's kind of a hard line to walk, actually, for me, because you want to just create, and you don't want it to be about selling things or about money, but it kind of has to be at that point. So that's where we went. And then Hollyhox painting started because of all of that and the support from our little community. That was the other thing, too. Most of the murals I was doing were here in Plumas County or surrounding areas directly around Plumas County, and the support I received was just amazing. I couldn't do it without all of the people who subscribed and followed and watched what I was doing and reached out to me. And I have to say, I appreciate all of the people who are so patient, because I am so busy, especially because art isn't the only thing I do. So the people that are so patient and waiting and say that it's worth it, the wait, and I just appreciate all of you. So then the name Hollyhox came from social media, actually. A while back, I had my identity stolen, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
And so I had to take myself off of the internet as myself. So that's where the Tina Thorman had to disappear for a little while. And I was involved in the West End Theater down here, down the street. And they do a lot on social media. They have a lot of the rehearsal schedules, and all of those things are on Facebook in their little private groups. And I was missing out on a lot of stuff not being on social media. So someone said, well, get on with a pseudonym. So, okay. So I chose the name Trixie as the first name because that was my Starbucks name. So when you go to Starbucks... Are
you a Starbucks girly?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yay. Although, in town, I'm the local coffee people.
Yes.
All of the local coffee shops are the best. But yes, and I have to say, too, this was back... Oops, sorry.
Sorry, Cecil. We'll do an introduction for Cecil in a bit. I'm from Sacramento, so... Me too.
Yeah, see? So when we would do Starbucks down there, and then we moved up here later. So anyway, Starbucks down there, I became Trixie because I would say Tina when they would say, what's your name? And it would get wrong. It would be put on there wrong every time, even with a simple name like Tina.
Really?
And you spell it out for them, and it's still Dina or Gina or something else. And then you're standing there, and you're waiting for someone to call your coffee is ready, and they say, Gina, and you're looking around like, okay, is that me or is that another Gina in here? So I started thinking, what name isn't very common? And I grew up reading the Trixie Belden series. They were like a mystery, kind of the alter ego to Nancy Drew kind of thing, or alternative, I should say, to Nancy Drew. And so I liked Trixie, so I picked Trixie. And then that way, there's no question, my name is Trixie on all the things, so they'd call out, Trixie? And everyone would look around like, who's Trixie? Anyway, that was kind of fun. So I went back to that name for my pseudonym, and then Hollyhox came because I had a pack of hollyhock seeds next to my computer when I was making the name, and it was from a friend, and I said, oh, that would make a good last name. And I tried to spell it the right way, but Facebook did something weird, and I got kicked out of that account for some reason, so I made a new account, and I did it with an X on the end, and then that's how people got to know me. They'd see me on social media, and then they'd call me, Trixie, hey, Trixie, in the store parking lot. And so I just went with it when I was trying to think of a name for a muraling business. Like, what should I name it? Magical Murals? Nothing sounded quite right. And then I said, well, how about just Hollyhox Painting? And use my pseudonym that everyone was familiar with anyway. So, and that's where that started.
Wow, from some seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Your friend planted the seed for you.
She did. Thanks, Janine. So that's how that got started, and then it's just been a whirlwind since. I am back at teaching again, so I had left the field for a little while to raise my kids and homeschool them, and they're all grown up, and then when they became grown up, it was time to get back into it. So I teach first grade at the charter school, Plumas Charter School over here, and just straight, not art. Everyone assumes it's just art, and it's not. It's multiple subjects. It's the whole thing. So I'm a classroom teacher during the school year, and then an artist during the summer, and I try to keep up on some of the art during the school year, but it's not as easy. And then to throw another thing in the pot, why not? I do the theater too. So I've been in a play, and then I help with their kids program, and then so the Magic Beanstalk Players. And then I also I am going to be doing the assistant directing for Miracle on 34th Street coming up in December.
Wow.
So it'll be really fun
So
and really busy.
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff going on, girlfriend.
Yeah.
But when it's all fun stuff like that,
It feeds the soul.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's a lot of feeding.
So you said you're originally from Sacramento. We're both two Sacramento Starbucks when we're in Sacramento, but when we're local places.
Yes.
How did you end up in Plumas County?
My husband at the time was looking for another job, and I said, let's get out of Sacramento and start looking around. So he looked around, and the county position an engineering position became available, which he's an engineer. And so we moved up here and moved the family. The kids were, I think, 8 and 10 or 10 and 12. I can't remember. I'd have to do that math. Anyway, they were young, and we were homeschooling anyway, so it wasn't like a big upheaval in our lives as far as that goes. And we moved up here, and it's been wonderful. I always felt like down in the city. I was born and raised down in Sacramento, and then in the Elk Grove area. And then coming up here, I just felt like it was home. And just that small town feel, the beautiful scenery, the inspiration for art. I mean, how can you not be inspired up here, really? So that's how we ended up here.
Do you ever go back to visit at all? Do you guys still have family there?
Yes, yeah. My sister's still down there, so we go and visit once in a while. Not very often. And my youngest has some friends down there that he sees sometimes, so.
Did your kids stay, or?
They are here, yep. Yeah, they are here. Mason is very involved in the theater. He's in just about every play. And then my oldest son, Evan, is sometimes involved with that. They were both FRC students, so yeah.
Nice.
Making their way in the world.
Yeah. So at what point, because it sounds like you have always been artistic, and you said your parents are artistic, right? Mm-hmm. So at what point did you decide to be a teacher? Was that kind of like a gear shift for you?
No, I always wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah,
even when I was little. I just always knew that I'd be a teacher. I don't know why, I just was. And then, I would take babysitting jobs when I was in high school, and I never had a weekend because then they'd be fighting. Like, no, you got her this weekend? Oh, man. Anyway, so it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I think all those kids enjoyed it. And I just knew. So I went to Sac State and got my degree in liberal studies, and then also doubled up and did my credential at the same time. So instead of doing the degree and then the credential, I did like one whole big thing and got into teaching 30 years ago. My first class was 30 years ago. And I've always taught first grade.
Really?
Yeah. I did teach some second grade splits, like a first, second grade split here at the charter school when I first started. And I had a split last year. But first grade is just my calling, I guess. I like to be silly with the kids. And I think that's a good grade for me because they still like it when you're silly in first grade. Second grade, not so much, I'm noticing. But first grade, they like you still.
That's the cutoff.
Yeah, right. There's something magical about first grade.
Do you incorporate a lot of art into the classroom?
I do, yes. I try and do some sort of creative process project at least once a week, if not more. This year will be a little different because we'll have an art teacher. But I'll still supplement and do some things with my kids. I noticed Even when you have a real squirrely group, if you can put art supplies out, and this was something I discovered last year, you can do a directed art project or lesson or whatever, and it might go well, it might not. You get some that just aren't into it. But if I just put the art supplies out, all of them, and say, just go for it, they'll be happy and happily creating for an hour and a half at a time, and it's just crazy to watch. It's so rewarding. It's like, yeah, that's what it should be. You should just be able to explore and create what you want. So it's a kind of balance. I teach them things, but then at the same time, I let them free create too.
How have you seen the, I don't want to say teaching industry, the education system, I'll say that. How have you seen the education system change in the 30 years?
Oh, big time. Really. I mean, there's those concepts that like wrap around and, they just have new names. So they always come around and there's always something that's just the same concept, just with a new fancy name or a little twist. But really, the kids are the ones that have changed in 30 years, honestly. Really? I mean, we live in a different society now with the internet and screen time and just their attention spans, and just our society in general is different than it was 30 years ago. So, yeah, definitely the kid, and especially because I got out of the system when my kids were born, and then we decided to homeschool early on. So I was out of the field in classroom setting anyway for 20 years, and then went back. It was like Rip Van Winkle. Where am I? What's going on? When I left, there was one computer per classroom, and they had a computer lab. Now everyone has their own laptop, and it's just you just go get it and do stuff. And then all the options that are out there for kids to get into, even with all the protections we have. And the kids are smart, and they know how to get around those and all of that. So anyway, it's very different. But deep down, I feel like, especially in first grade, these kids are they're little people. And your job is to help them make their way in the world and learn about life and try and express themselves how they want to, and it's very rewarding, I have to say. So it's been rewarding all along, even though the industry itself has changed quite a bit.
Did you have to learn quite a bit about computers when you re-entered as a teacher?
I did okay because I was homeschooling still, and I was involved with some programs that were education related, so I wasn't totally out of it. But I did have to learn how to do attendance on the computer, which was totally new for me. So that one was hard. Yeah. Attendance and report cards and putting them in this big system, and that part was probably the biggest learning curve for me.
Yeah. And then speaking of computers, I just thought about this. How have you seen any change in the art industry now that there's like the AI images and stuff?
Yes. It is a little discouraging to see how many people kind of gravitate towards the AI. Even I, myself, when I'm scrolling through like Pinterest or something for inspiration, I'll see something and go, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, it's AI. Or when people post something and say, isn't this beautiful? And you're looking at it and it's like, okay, that person in the picture has 10 fingers on one hand. And you're like, that's not real. So that part's a little discouraging, but I mean, as long as you're aware, I'm hoping that it will. I don't know. I think I'm still just trying to navigate my own little world, and I'm trying to not pay too much attention to the AI, but I should, because you can't put your head in the sand. You got to deal with it and learn everything you can about it.
Well, I'm hoping that, and I'm sure there'll be people that are purists, we want human art. I mean, there's no comparison.
It's true, yes. And, I always say an artist pours a lot of themselves into any work they do. And so when you're looking at art, you're seeing that person, a representation of that person's thoughts or soul or however you want to interpret that. You're seeing them. They're basically burying themselves for you right there on canvas or paper or sculpture or music or poetry. Any of those art forms, you're seeing inside a person, and that connection is very important. And you don't really get that with AI.
No, you're just looking inside of a computer.
Yeah, right, yeah. That's a scary place,
Yeah.
or could be.
Looking at the Matrix. That's creepy. And I know that we've talked, and you've said you're looking at a piece of that person on a canvas, and we've talked that art kind of shows you different sides of people. And how do you think that translates in your work?
Well, you're seeing me on the wall, and if we look at anything after this, you'll see that I like fantasy things, and I like dark balanced with light, and yeah, you're getting a glimpse at what goes on in someone's head when you see their art. And there's a lot of me on this wall over here, and all of the artists in here. It's the same. You're seeing a reflection of what their thoughts are and what they are going through. And I've noticed that too in some of my own art. When I'm going through something major, a lot of times I'll get like that block, that artist block. So you just can't. And when I have commissions that are, it's a page-long list of commissions, and I just can't do them because of whatever's going on. It helps to and a friend told me this, just get a canvas and just start painting and put whatever comes. Don't plan anything, just start painting, and whatever comes out just comes out. And I've done that with 2 pieces in particular that were very eye-opening for me, and they were not like the style that you see behind me at all. And it's very, very freeing when you can do that, because then it's out, and then you see it for yourself, what was actually bothering you, and then the emotions can come out. And then you can put that painting away if you want, or you can leave it out where you see it all the time and figure out how you can keep going, and then the art can flow again. So you can't force it, and that's where turning art into a business was kind of tricky, because you kind of have to force it sometimes, and it's not always roses and butterflies, but you just have to find that balance, which is true for anything, like just trying to find a balance in doing your because I'm working a full-time job and owning a business, running a business, trying to create art for myself and for others, and then also creating a different form of art with the theater. So and have a life. Like, go walk in the woods. It's okay to go do something like that sometimes and put everything else down. So that sounds like such a beautiful process to just literally I'm like what you said earlier, I can't draw a straight line. So to hear that that's your outlet for, like, some girls, they do yoga, or it's just so interesting to hear an artist's perspective, like you get through those blocks on canvas. Yeah, and I think everyone should find whatever that is for them, whether it's exercise or, like you said, yoga, music, poetry, journaling, anything. Just get that stuff out so that you can move on and keep going when it's hard. Because it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat that.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, sometimes it's very vulnerable to own a business. And it's very vulnerable, I'm sure, to be an artist, because it's literally a piece of you. Mm-hmm. So what kept you going after those times where you maybe had some negative feedback and you're like, okay, I'm taking a break?
What kept me going? It's in you. You can't hold it in. Like even this guy here, Cecil, we were getting ready for this show, which the whole idea was it was a fantasy-themed show this month, for the month of September here at the gallery, and I had several pieces already that I had gathered that weren't necessarily new, and then I had some that were brand new, and I was working, that was my priority, was getting some new pieces up for this month. And then like 2 weeks before the show was supposed to open, I had this idea.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. So maybe it was 2.5 by the time the idea,
Yeah.
and then I started moving with it about 2 weeks before the show. And he took way more time than I thought he was going to take, but it was like at that point I had to get him out. He was in my head, and he had to be here, and he had to be in the window. And I think if I hadn't had the time limit of 2 weeks, he might not have been finished. He might still be sitting in my studio because he was hard. But because I had that time pressure, and I'm sure I'm a little ADHD, maybe a little.
That's kind of the common thread with all the girls. ADHD, hates taxes, doesn't like computers.
And really don't like spreadsheets. I really don't think that way. So spreadsheets I like the organization that a spreadsheet gives me. I just don't like to make them or keep up on them. So, so that was, I needed that time pressure to finish him. And he got finished just in time. I was here the night before, like 10 o'clock at night before the opening, putting some last minute touches on him.
Well, he is beautiful.
Thank you.
He has a brother, perhaps, coming?
Yes, he might.
Or sister?
I'm not sure which way we'll go there. My son found one at a garage sale for free. So he said, "Hey, Mom." I'm like, "Yes, grab it." So, yeah, we have another show in about another year. That's the plan anyway, that we'll do a steampunk theme. So be looking for your steampunk costume.
Yes, I love steampunk. I think it's so fun.
Because we'll do our regular opening, and then my fellow artist Jane and I that love all this stuff, we're both steampunk fans too. So we're planning on doing a steampunk show next year, and then we'll do a party like we did the fairy ball this year. So. Yeah, and so this next horse will be a combination of mirrors, gears, steampunk style. So I think I'm excited about that. I want to start it now, but I can't.
That sounds like it's going to be so cool. Are you going to swap out your gallery, like more steampunk looks? Or?
For next year, yes. The whole theme is the idea is to be all steampunk themed on these 2 walls at least, the main walls. At the end of this month, all of this comes down, and there will be 2 new artists that are putting their work up at the end of this month. So next month will be a totally different show. So that's the nice thing. This is a cooperative art gallery. So everybody, can sign up to be whatever month they want and work together like this, where we could take over almost the whole place. And we also had Bruce Powell in here with his woodwork in the middle. So it was Jane and I and Bruce, and so we made it all work by having his stuff be butterfly themed, and ours was so we called it Flutter and Faye, so that it would be kind of all-encompassing. So it was really fun. It was just fun to take over and hear the response from the community that they just loved doing something like this. So
I had no idea. I love doing the show for reasons like this. I call them hidden gems. So every month there's a new theme.
Not necessarily a theme. Sometimes there is, and sometimes it's just the collective work of whatever artist is putting their things up. But yes, every month is some artists have enough that they can take both walls, and so they'll just put work on both walls, and it's just a single solo show. Most of the time, though, we do one artist on one wall and another on the other. And then in this case, when there's something like this, like the woodworking that's here today, we can have a third one in the show, and then they would just split it. And then that all works out by, we plan it all out ourselves. We print our own postcards, our own posters, and all of that, and we split the cost and the mailing labels and the postage and the food and all of that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And so we just all work together and get it done. And that is something that's super important too. When you hear about networking or anything like that, to me, it's more than networking. It's building your little tribe, your community. Mostly just just building your community together. So you find those artists that you work well with, and you just build a little community with them. And so far, everybody in this particular gallery have been just like that. Plumas Arts is amazing too, and they give you lots of opportunities to get yourself out there, which is good. And then I also have some things up in North Tahoe right now. So I'm a visiting artist up there because you have to live within so many miles, and I'm way outside of that. So I'm a visiting artist up there, I've been welcomed very nicely up there, which was very, very gratifying. So.
Yeah. Well, you were definitely, you asked how I heard of you, and it's because I saw you tagged in all these stuff from all over, and I was like, oh, I have to get this little celebrity on the show.
Oh, gosh, thank you. I know my son calls me a niche micro-celebrity.
Yes. Yes. A micro celeb. I love that.
I get recognized at the post office a lot.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's cute. I don't know. I like it. It's, for some people, and for me, even though I'm in the theater and everything, I'm actually kind of shy and kind of socially awkward, even though I don't look it. I mask really well. And it's the attention at first is kind of like, I don't know about this, but then like, no, it's nice. I like it. So I think the biggest thing for me is being able to make an impact on somebody else. So to let them feel something when they see it. Like this guy right here, when you see him, I've gotten so many comments about he's mesmerizing, he's calming, he's whatever. Like that's what I want. When they look at the art, certain pieces really touch someone's heart because they identify for whatever reason with something going on in the painting. And that part right there is just that connection because you're looking at I'm putting myself out there and you're connecting with that part of me yourself, and that's a really, really good feeling. And I think that's why theater is so, good for some people too, because you're putting yourself out there up on the stage, making people feel something, and it's your job to make them feel something up there, whether it's sad, happy, funny, whatever. So I think that just wanting to help other people, and that's probably why I teach. You're really touching lives there.
Yeah.
So it's good.
At the very start of things, too, first grade.
I know. That's why I say, they're just little people. Mm-hmm. They're going to grow up to be big people someday. And being in education for 30 years, I'm seeing that firsthand. Yeah. I'm like, oh, gosh, you're the age of my first students. Or I could be your mom. I'm looking at my kids going, I could be your grandma.
Well, you're not at the point where you're teaching your students' kids yet, are you?
I'm teaching the age group because my students were all in Sacramento before. So up here, a lot of the parents are the ages of my first students, yeah.
Time goes by fast.
It really does.
Yeah.
So if I was down there, I probably would be teaching the next generation at this point. But.
So when you first came to Quincy, how did you first get in contact with the theater or vice versa? How did you get involved in that?
Through the kids. It was the Magic Beanstalk Player program. So we signed the kids up for the first plays after we moved up here. So they both got to be in big, and it was right around the time that the Magic Beanstalk Players just exploded with kids. Like by the time they did their second play with them, we had to have 2 casts.
Wow.
Because it was so big. And that was how I got my foot in. And then I could paint. So I was doing sets. And that was another thing, too, is I became involved with the community theater after that. And then the kids did, too. And so we did A Christmas Carol. And I painted 15 panels in a matter of weeks.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, if I can do this, then COVID hit, right? And then it was, if I could do 15 panels in just a few weeks, or I think it was like a couple weeks, I could do these little paintings that go so fast. And they did. It was funny. So that kind of helped make muraling more comfortable for me, too, because I had practiced with so much of the set painting there and using house paint, because you use whatever you have at the theater, right? It's just a little small community theater. You use whatever comes to you, and we'd get a lot of donations of free house paint that people were getting rid of. And so house paint into murals, making things look realistic, and then that just led naturally into muraling, because that's what you use that's what I use anyway for murals, is house paint, because it has the most durability, especially for outdoor paint. So.
Do you remember your first commissioned mural outside of the theater?
Yes.
Of course, right?
I know. Well, and it's the one that I use. It's on my it's the first one on my website, and it's the one that I think caught the eye of, because I'm going to do a project for Reno Tahoe International Art Show, where I will be a live muralist in September, and I think that's the one that caught their eye. It was an outbuilding up Quincy LaPorte Road, and she had put it out there, she wanted a picnic bench painted, and I said, oh, I can do that, and so I met with her, and I brought some samples of my artwork, and she's looking at them, and she says, forget the picnic bench. I want you to paint this building. So that was my first big mural. And that's when I decided I needed to do this for real. And because then they wanted a second building, and then I started getting calls from other people. So that was where it all just happened, just naturally happened. And then the North Complex fire happened, and the fire came literally within inches of the back of that building that I just finished the murals on both of their outbuildings. And I mean, I think it was like a week later, or within a week, the fire started, and it came right up to their property. The firefighters, you know who you are, saved everything, and they sent me pictures of the fire coming right up to the back. So it was insane. And the paint did great. Didn't even bubble or blister or anything. I was concerned, and it did great. So that mural is still there. Those people have moved, but I hear that the new people that bought the property are keeping the murals. So hopefully that stays like that. And yeah, that was a special mural. I always thank them every time. And every time Hollyhox painting has a birthday or anniversary or whatever you want to call it, I post that picture with them and say thank you. So
how special is that?
Yeah.
So did you just get a call one day from the Reno Tahoe people, like, hey, we want you to come out?
No, actually, I saw that they put a call out, like call to artists, a call to muralists specifically, and I thought, well, and it's a donation-based thing, so I'm actually not getting paid for this. I'm taking off work, I'm going up there, and they're going to use it as a fundraiser, basically, and I'm totally cool with that. It's for a children's fundraiser, and I'm really excited about that. And then, so I applied, thinking, I'll just apply. I'm not going to get it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll just put it out there. And I actually messed up my online application. I thought I was putting in the information, and I luckily got my website on there, and I was going to go down to the next line to put on all the social media links where my work is readily available and easy to find. My website is too, but they'd actually have to go. Anyway, so I hit enter, and that submitted it instead of going down to the next line. So I was like, oh, then I'm really not going to get it because I messed that up. Oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. I'm okay with that, actually. It's all
relieved.
Good. Yeah. And then I got the email, congratulations. I was like, okay, here we go. So I'm super excited, actually, because then it is meant to be. So, and I have an idea of what I want to paint, and it has to be Reno Tahoe related. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
So is it like on a, what are you painting on, and do they sell it to go towards the cause?
Right, so they are talking about, it's a 4x8 panel that will then move after the show, because it'll be live painted during the 4-day show. So I have 4 days to finish that panel, which won't be a problem. And then it will then go to the Reno Tahoe International Airport and be displayed. All 4 murals that we create there will be displayed for the rest of September. So it's only going to be there for a couple weeks. And
I'll see it, because I'll be at the airport. And
good.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'll be flying out on the 23rd. Will it be there?
It should be there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll look for it, girls.
Okay, yay. And then, so yeah, that'll be really fun to have that exposure. That's really what it's about at this point.
Right.
And, doing the fundraiser and then just being exposed and just challenging myself to do something I haven't done before. So, I pretty much do live painting when I do any kind of public mural, but including this one that I painted with Liz Swindell here. And Lulu, the building's owner here, Ricardo and Wendy's daughter Lulu helped on that mural too. She was one of my students, and then I could tell she was really artistic, and she had the opportunity to help us for a little bit, so that was kind of cool. So we had her sign out there too. yeah, so it'll be a good experience. And then from there, I think they haven't decided exactly what will happen to them, if they'll be auctioned off or if they'll just be purchased by one of the sponsors, I guess, of the fundraiser. If that makes sense. And they had like about 3 or 4 listed, so I don't know which one it's going to go to. I guess we'll find out.
How exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
You got a lot of fun stuff, and I think it's really exciting to have girls like you in the community, like just artistic and uplifting and doing all these fun things.
Thanks. I like to find people who have that same mindset of you lift each other up and not bring each other down, and it's not a competition.
No, it's not.
And even if it's a business, it's not really a competition. And I firmly believe that we have to work together and lift each other up.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you get a lot of that at being in a co-op too, because that's what it's all about.
Yes, definitely here. This has been a very, very supportive. The whole community is supportive, honestly. And anytime I announce I'm doing something fun or exciting, I get such a huge response from everyone in the community, art and otherwise. And it's just, that's why I feel like it's home here.
Definitely. I could totally relate to that.
Yeah.
So I know you have the theater coming up, and you're going to be doing the airport mural or the airport panels.
Right.
Panels, you girls know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Any other exciting things down the line that you could share with us that are maybe just little ideas now, but you're kind of thinking of?
Well, the steampunk theme is like first and foremost in my mind now, even though it's a whole year away. But the time goes by fast, so that will be a next project, directing with the theater or assisting directing with the theater. As far as Hollyhox painting goes, I don't have anything major at this moment because right now my focus has shifted to education and school. But I'm hoping to do more with my website. That's like my one. I have made myself that goal, that my website would be more user-friendly, I guess, so that people can get on there when they need something that's not available at the local galleries. Right now I have so much of my stock available locally that I haven't really put it on there for people who are not local on the website, and that's something I want to do.
Well, that would be nice because I have a lot of girlfriends in Sacramento. That's where they're from. So they'll see your episode, and some girls in Nevada City. So
Yay.
You might get some new clients from out of the area.
Yeah, I better hurry up and get updating.
No pressure. And what advice would you have for women, whether it's from a business owner standpoint or an artistic or a mom or a teacher?
Find time for yourself. That's a big one because it's really easy to put your own needs at the bottom when everything else is coming at you like a steam engine. And trying to find that balance between all the things and trying to find that space where you can have it all, but just give yourself time and space to do each thing and then save some of that time for yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. Be organized. I have a paper planner. I don't do much digitally, and maybe that's because of my age, but it's also because I feel like that keeps me calm and centered when I have everything right there and I can get it out of my head and it's there and I can just refer to it. So that helps a lot. And just giving yourself, like my future self often thanks my past self when I do something like that, like arranging ahead of time, my clothes for the week or cooking my food for the week or whatever. It's like by the end of the week, I'm like, thank you, weekend Tina, because you just made your life so much easier this week by taking that time to do that. And I think that's really important for everybody, busy or not.
That's really good advice. I think I'm going to start planning out my clothes for the week.
Yeah, it really makes a difference.
Yes.
In the morning, you're just giving yourself that little gift of it's all done, and you don't have to think while you're thinking about everything else that's going to happen in the day.
I love that.
Something simple.
Yeah, every episode I feel like I get such a like a nugget of information from one of the girls.
Oh,
And I
good.
think my biggest takeaway from your episode is like, what's something small I can do to make the upcoming week easier?
Yes.
I love that, girl. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, and if the girls want to reach you, or any guys out there too, I know my grandpa listens, so.
Yay, hi, Grandpa.
So if anybody would like to reach you or has questions about maybe a commission.
Did I touch something? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. What would be the best way to reach you if anybody's interested in commission or any type of artwork or anything?
Probably the easiest way is to go on my website. I do have a thing at the bottom for questions and contacts, and it will send me an email. I'm not super prompt on getting back to everybody right away, but I do put you on my list. So even if you haven't heard from me in a few days or a week, I have a list that I keep that I always try and go back and follow up with everybody. But yes, I probably email on the website. My cell phone number is a good way to texting, except I can't always get right back to everybody because I teach, and during the school day, that's off and gone. So it's 530-616-1220, and you can always leave me a message, or you can text. That's probably the easiest way is to text. I'm a really good texter. Not so much the other things, but yeah, those would probably be the best ways.
Perfect. And I'll have all that linked in the description for your video, and I'll put the Hollyhox Facebook as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Hollyhox Painting on Facebook and on Instagram. So I have, if you follow there, you'll see everything that's brand new on there.
Awesome. Anything else that you'd like to share or touch base on or bring awareness? Oh, let's talk. What are the hours for the gallery?
Yes, the hours. Right now we're on summer hours. Winter hours will change a little bit, but this particular gallery is open Wednesday through Saturdays. In the winter, we usually only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, just go online. It's on the website. And they did change it after the map thing.
Good.
Yeah, they changed that.
I'm glad, good. Because I know that's what I always check. I always check Google Maps. Some people are like Yelp people. Some people will try to find it other ways, but I'm always like Google Maps.
Yeah, and with a co-op like this, if you have like several people in charge of things, those kind of things slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that didn't get updated for the summer.
Right.
And that's why it said that
exactly
on Wednesday. But anyway, and then I also have a YouTube channel.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, I gotta subscribe. Let me do
Yeah,
that right
thank
now.
you. Yeah.
Girls, look how easy it is to just subscribe. Okay, let me do that right now before I forget.
If you search up Hollyhox Painting, and Hollyhox is spelled with an X.
What is hollyhox? I didn't know it was a seed.
It's a flower. Yeah, so it's like the tall stalk. If you saw the flower, you would totally know what a hollyhox is. Or hollyhock is. And then, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, it's a tall stalked flower, and then they have little seed heads that you can plant. They're very prolific.
Yeah?
If you go to...
Hollyhox Painting?
There it is!
I found you! Yay!
There I am.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, girls, make sure that you're subscribed to Hollyhox Painting as well as a Girl Business Podcast. Okay, so we got that. Any other links or anything that we can find you at, or any other exciting news you'd like to share? Do you guys do plays or anything for the kids? Any like school events coming up?
For the charter school, you mean? Not for the public. Let's see. What are we doing? I don't even know.
I know your brain's probably like left, right.
No, I think the biggest one is just Miracle on 34th Street at the West End Theater in December. Oh, here's a little nugget. This guy will make an appearance during the next, so 2 more plays away. So there will be a play in October. Is that right? Mm-hmm. October, called Glass Menagerie. And if you've ever watched it or read it, you'll know that there's a unicorn featured prominently. And so Cecil will make an appearance in that play.
How exciting.
So he'll be involved.
That is really, and I want to read this right here. It says, "Your reflection may seem fractured, but oh, how you shine."
Yeah, and that's
I love that.
him. Because when you look at him, you see yourself reflected back, but you're pixelated, it's broken, but really everything, you just shine. And so it kind of represents how we all feel about ourselves. Like maybe we're not perfect, but we still shine, even if parts of us feel broken.
That is beautiful. And Cecil here is available for sale for $2,500, or, which I think is really cool, he is also available for party and event rentals if he's not yet sold.
Right.
So that is really, talk about adapting. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I thought, well, he probably won't sell, and that's okay. And then we could rent him instead. I would miss him.
I think he's kind of a staple. I think he might have to stay.
I know. Don't buy him.
Price doubled, $5,000.
Yeah, and then if you are interested in renting Cecil, you can call or text that number that I gave earlier, and we can talk.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
I would love to do a tour. Do you want to do a tour of some of your pieces and stuff?
Sure.
I've already bought two. I walked in, I saw a new product that I hadn't seen last time I was here, and I was like, oh, I'll be getting those. So she has some really fun stuff. Girls, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, I'll just say Holly, for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you, Trixie.
Trixie.
Or I know I
Trixie?
get called Holly a lot because of Hollyhox, but it's Trixie or Tina.
Trixie.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I answer to Holly too.
Okay, well, Trixie, thank you, Trixie, for coming on to the show. And we're going to do a little tour. Girls, thank you for watching. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. That helps support women in business all over Northern California. And let's do a tour.
Okay, let's go. I'm Trixie Hollyhox, and this is the Main Street Artist Gallery, and we're gonna go take a tour. We are a cooperative art group with artists that maintain and run this gallery ourselves, and we each take a wall at some point in the year. I have this wall this month, and we did a fantasy theme art opening the first Friday art walk. This is Cecil, the unicorn, the sparkly unicorn. He was a major project. I have quite a bit of fantasy artwork that I've kind of been collecting and doing over the years. This was one of the COVID art pieces. That's the protective mother over her cavern where you can imagine her babies are. So that one was done back in 2020. This one is the baby that I just did for this show. So after all these years, I thought, what would be inside that cavern? So that is the baby in there. And then I have some pieces that are just inspired. These are all new right here. These were newer, but still maybe a couple years old. These were inspired by some of the hikes I take. I always look at tree stumps, and I'm fascinated with the tree stumps, and I think, what could be living in there? So I made these so that, yeah, you can get the idea that there's probably fairies or gnomes or something living in there, but you get to use your imagination. This was another COVID piece, sharing the light when we couldn't see each other. So it was kind of these two fairies sharing their love. That is a piece called Yearning, when I was going through some stuff and I was wishing for something different. That one's a new piece. That was more kind of calming. This one's called The Waters Know Her Name, and it was inspired by the Cascade Trail, which is local here. And this one was another COVID piece, Calm During the Storm, when things were crazy, busy. This is a friend of mine that was really good at helping me stay grounded when things felt overwhelming. Hope and Wonder, which was also another COVID piece. That one was when things were starting to improve and there was hope that we thought we would be able to get out and about again and things would get back to normal.
And this one, I have Journal. One of your journals.
Okay. Yes. Disturb the. Yeah, and you have the red door version of that.
Oh, the
one.
red. Yes.
So yeah, so that one is. That was the first one I did, and then someone asked me to do it in a red version, and I said sure, and then that's the one I made into a journal. And then these are some pieces that I use handmade paper. I do not make the paper myself, but I use handmade paper, and I use acrylic gouache paint, and then add some like sparkle and such with the watercolors. I have some special watercolors that I use. And then this one up here is part of a series of little cottages, little fantasy cottages. And that one is the second in the series. The first one sold the first week I put it up on the wall.
Wow.
It was very exciting. And then that one's just kind of a fun little ink and watercolor piece that just kind of was just for extra fun. And we have lots of art here. My friend Jane is the other half of our fantasy series. We were just amazed when we saw all of our work up and saw that mine was really dark, but there was light shining through, but then hers, she uses all watercolor and some charcoal and pencil. And hers are more light and airy, which is interesting, that we have the same sort of theme, but different styles. No competition here. It was all something where we just wanted to work together, and it came together so beautifully. And she does these mushroom carved, they're not carved, they're etched.
Wow.
She has a whole process that she describes, and it's really fascinating.
Those are mushrooms?
They are. They grow on the trees. And don't ask me to pronounce it, but the the common name is artist conch. And then she uses like a metal tool that etches into and has like a chemical reaction with the mushroom, and then as it dries, the color contrast comes out, or the, not really color, but the lines show.
This reminds me of The Secret Nymph.
Oh, okay. Yes. How fun. And then we have other artists set up. We have cards, sculpture. We're trying to get more sculptures. So any artists out there, if you're interested in showing your work, please let us know here at the Artist Gallery. You can stop in. You can text me if you want more information. You can go on our the Main Street Artist Gallery website. We're always looking for new artists and new work. And if you're not interested in being a member, you can do consignment as well.
Oh, nice. That's a good option. We got some woodwork here.
Yes, this is Bruce Cowell's woodwork. He lives in the Bay Area, and it comes up and he helps us with all of our IT stuff, and he does this beautiful inlay work. That is the Main Street Artist Gallery. Thank you for coming to visit.